Welcome to Inktale, the battle for Prischroma. In this video, I'll be explaining how to set up and play the game, as well as explaining how the core mechanics work. Begin by placing the starting tile in the center of the play area. Make sure that there is enough room to expand the map outward from the starting tile, which should be about 1 foot in radius. Place the Dr. Grayskale's castle tile and the Dr. Grayskale Tier 3 enemy token aside for later use. Next, assemble the land tiles. Take 25 regular land tiles, 10 Tier 1 enemy tiles, 5 Tier 2 enemy tiles, and the Castle of Prischroma tile. Shuffle them together into one stack. Place the stack into the cloth bag. Separate the Tier 1 and Tier 2 enemy tokens and shuffle the stacks separately. Shuffle all ink cards, including the XP cards, into one deck thoroughly. Designate a space for the discard pile for the ink and XP cards. Place the defense track near the gameplay area. Place the defense track token on 25 on the defense track regardless of the difficulty chosen. Place the construction track near the gameplay area and place the construction track token on the specified number based on the number of players in the difficulty chosen. Shuffle the Tier 1 and Tier 2 gear cards separately and place them near the play area. Separate out 20 positive and 10 negative event cards, shuffle them together, and place them near the play area. Place the color die to the side of the gameplay area. Each player should choose a character they want to play as and take the appropriate character sheet. It is recommended to have at least one combatant in every scenario, since there is no way to avoid combat with the final boss. Other character choices are up to the strategies that the players use. Give all players one hero tracker. Set the XP dial to 0 and the attack dial to 3. All players choose a meeple or their character's miniature and place it onto the starting tile. Players can also take an octagon indicator to remind everyone which color of meeple they chose. Give each player 3 attack dice. Give each player a pair of ink drop tokens of the same color, preferably of the same color as their meeple. All players draw 5 ink cards from the deck. Players may display their cards in whatever way they please. Note that there is no hand limit on cards. The player wearing the most colorful clothing, as voted by the players, goes first. Give whoever goes first the first player token. Gameplay direction moves clockwise. The goal of the game is to defeat Dr. Grayskale. This is done by coloring land to find the Prischroma castle tile, which spawns the boss, coloring tiles to reduce the defense of the boss, train up the player's attack power by gaining XP, gathering enough ink to battle, and then fighting Dr. Grayskale himself. Each player's turn operates in 2 basic phases, the movement phase and the action phase. After all players have taken a turn, the event phase commences, and then a new round begins. Each player gets 2 movement points per turn to perform feats. The following are the type of feats the players may choose to do. Walk. Move 1 tile in any direction. Scout. If the player is on a colored tile that has an empty space next to it, they may perform a scout feat. The player will draw a tile from the bag and place it colored side down on the edge of the board adjacent to the tile on which the player is located. The new tile must be touching at least 2 edges of any other tiles, one of which must be the tile the player is standing on. Players may also move on to their most recently scouted tile for free. Dash. Move up to 4 tiles in any direction, but they must all be colored. Trade. Trade up to 5 cards per movement point spent. Both players must be on the same tile to perform a trade. Dropping and picking up ink. Drop up to 5 cards onto a colored tile which can be picked up by another player later on. This is done by the player setting aside up to 5 cards and placing the ink drop token onto the stack and another of the same color onto the tile they are currently standing on. Later on, another player may pick up the cards from an ink drop that is on the tile they are currently standing on. Remove the ink drop token and take the cards corresponding to that token. Provoke. If for whatever reason a player wants to spawn an enemy, they may do so by rolling to place a Tier 1 or Tier 2 enemy on any adjacent tile. Roll 1 attack die. If it is any miss, do not place an enemy. If it is any hit, the player may choose to place either a Tier 1 or Tier 2 enemy onto any open tile. Draw ink. Draw a single ink card. This feat is best performed when the player needs to waste MP. Special ability. Some characters can perform their character-specific abilities for the number of MP noted on the character sheets. Note that not all characters have special abilities that cost MP. Once the player has exhausted their movement points, they immediately interact with the tile they are standing on. This is referred to as the action phase of a player's turn. The player will do one of the following. Colorize. Recolor the tile that the player is currently standing on by discarding the required ink as noted on the tile. Paint ink equal to or greater than the amount shown in the color wheel in each color section. Gain the reward as noted next to the colorized symbol on the colored side of the tile. If a player needs a secondary color of ink, that is orange, purple, or green, then they may combine primary colors to make secondary colors as much as they like. Fight. Attack an enemy on the tile. See the section of this video on combat for a more detailed explanation. Gather. If a player is on a colored tile, they perform the action as designated next to the gather symbol. If the reward is to draw ink cards, draw the number of cards noted on the tile from the draw pile. If the reward is XP, then gain the noted XP. Special actions. Perform any other interaction as specified on the tile. If using the Outskirts expansion, see the included rulebook for detailed information on how to perform those actions. Wait. If the player does not want to do anything, they may stay on their current tile and do nothing, even if there is an enemy or the tile is uncolored. Once a player is finished with their action phase, the next player commences their movement phase. Once all players have finished their action phases, the event phase commences. Reduce the construction track by 1. Adjust the defense track to account for any new tiles colored this round. Draw an event card and resolve it. The first player token moves to whomever the players decide will go first next round. Inktale's combat system is mostly streamlined to move smoothly throughout the game. Up to 2 players may fight any one enemy at the same time. First, the players pay the ink requirement shown in the color wheel on the enemy tile before combat begins. Next, the attackers roll dice equal to their character's current attack level to determine the number of hits. Enemies must be defeated in 1 turn. If a player rolls a blue single sword, then that roll is worth 1 hit. If a player rolls a purple double sword, then that roll is worth 2 hits. If a player rolls a blank, it counts as no hits. If a player rolls a red broken sword, then that roll causes 1 hit to be negated. If the player is successful in combat by rolling hits equal to or greater than the enemy's defense, the player gains the XP as it states on the enemy token. They also gain a gear card of the same tier as the enemy defeated, and they discard the enemy token from the game. Additionally, defeating the enemy colors the land tile that the enemy was on, so flip over the tile. The player will gain a bonus reward from the tile itself, as if they colorize the tile. If 2 players are fighting the enemy, they may split the XP, gear, and colorize rewards as they see fit. If, however, the players fail to roll enough hits to defeat the enemy, the battle ends and they must end their turn. Any ink they spent is forfeited. Note that if 2 players want to fight a single target, they can do so. This can only be done with a maximum of 2 players attacking a single target. To fight together, both players must be on the same enemy tile during the action phase of one of their turns. Both players will pay the full amount of ink separately from each other. They cannot combine ink, though they may trade ink before combat. The dice rolls of the 2 players are combined. The rewards are distributed between the 2 players as they choose. Each character has combat experience points, abbreviated XP. XP converts into attack power, which in turn makes defeating enemies easier. The amount required to level up varies depending upon the player's current attack power. Gain XP by turning the XP dial on the hero tracker the amount gained. If the XP reaches the amount on the character sheet below the player's current attack power, then they increase that player's attack power by 1 and reset the XP to 0. If a player would gain more XP, gain more normally from here. There is no cap on how much XP someone can gain each turn. For example, Alex is currently at 1 XP on attack power 4. He gains 5 XP. He turns the XP dial to 2. Since this is the amount required to level up, he gains an attack power. He turns the attack power to 5 and the XP dial to 0. He still has 4 XP to gain. He turns the XP to 3. Once again, this is the amount required to level up, so he turns the attack power dial to 6 and the XP dial to 0. He still has 1 more XP to gain, so he turns his XP dial up to 1. He ends with attack power at 6 and XP at 1. The goal of the game is to defeat Dr. Grayskale. Once he is defeated, the players win. Victory is not so simple, though. There are 3 main aspects to defeating the boss that players must keep in mind: finding Castle Prischroma, leveling up attack power, and colorizing land to reduce the boss's defense. Castle Prischroma is amidst the tiles in the tile bag. It will cost the players 5 of every color of ink to recolor it. As a reward for colorizing it, the king shows a map to Dr. Grayskale's castle, and the players may put the tile anywhere on the board. Both minions must be defeated before Dr. Grayskale can be attacked. Leveling up attack power makes it easier to fight the minions and the boss required to complete the game. Each time a land tile of any kind is colorized, the boss's defense is reduced by 1. Considering he starts at 25 defense, reducing him down to a manageable level will make the final battle easier to complete. Note that he also requires 9 of every ink for each player every time the players want to fight him. That is how you play Inktale, the Battle for Prischroma. There are many nuances and interactions that change the game, but I believe in you. Have fun taking down Dr. Grayskale, and thank you for supporting this game in its development.